All right. First, hello everyone. First of all, I would really like to thank the organizers and specifically Chris for giving me the opportunity to be presenting today. My name is Mohamad, and I'm a computer engineer. And in the last 13 years, I've been providing technology-enabled solutions for different market verticals. And today, I'm going to be talking about a topic I hope everyone can relate to, which is parking, and specifically how parking creates connected cities. It's estimated that drivers in the UK waste around 44 hours every year just searching for a parking space. And this number can reach up to 67 hours in a city like London. Drivers searching for a parking space cause a lot of problems. They contribute to around 30% of traffic congestion, according to a professor in UCLA University, Dr. Donald Choop. And these drivers cause around 50% of nitrogen oxide emissions, contributing also to air pollution. This problem also has a cost on society because around 25% of people they said that they've gone into an argument with a fellow driver over a parking space, and it also has a cost on businesses. Around 6 out of 10 drivers have abandoned their search for a parking space once. According to a study made by INRIX in 2017 to estimate the cost of searching for a parking space on the economy of the UK, they estimated the cost of this problem to be around 23.2 billion pounds, including the cost of wasted time, wasted fuel, lost business opportunities, also the cost on the environment. So the core of the parking problem is that it's compounded due to the lack of information. Simply, drivers don't know where there's an available parking space, so they keep cruising. Parking operators manage their parking lots irrespective of their surroundings. City councils don't have a monitoring tool to monitor the on-street parking spaces they operate. And traffic authorities also have no idea, they have no visibility about the traffic flow across parking spaces. So now let's imagine that real-time parking data is available somewhere, and all the stakeholders in the mobility sector, they have access to this data. In this case, drivers won't need to cruise searching for a parking space because they already know where the parking space is. Parking operators will be able to automate their parking operations according to their surroundings. City councils will be able to increase the utilization of their on-street parking spaces. And according to one of the studies, they estimated that they'd be able to increase their revenue by around 30 to 40% if they have visibility about them and they can really manage them and utilize them in a very good way. And actually, this is not a very small number because internationally, parking contributes to around, it's considered the second or third source of revenue for municipalities and city councils. What else? Traffic authorities also, once they have visibility on the turnover on the parking spaces, they'll be able to make data-driven decisions and control traffic flow. I'll just give you one example, which was done in the city of San Francisco. They had a pilot project where they installed sensors under each parking space. So they were able to know when the traffic was the highest, at which time of the day, and when it was the lowest. So what they did is that they played with the parking fees, increasing the parking fees at some point of the day. So what happened is that they were able to control traffic because drivers automatically went to places that where they were able to pay lower parking fees. So this is one kind of solution that traffic authorities will be able to use once they have data ready and available. Also, enforcement officers, instead of cruising, searching for cars violating the parking spaces, they'd be able to do that automatically. And not only on their side, also on the driver's side. Once the system is connected and drivers also have access to this data along with the enforcement officers, drivers can also be automatically notified if they have any problem in violating parking regulation. Not only this, third parties, like for example, businesses who have locations close to spaces, once they have access to this data, they'll be able to advertise these parking spaces for their clients. They'd be also to send kind of advertisement, of course, after the acceptance of the driver. If to advertise their businesses once the drivers are near this location. So in brief, shifting from a disconnected ecosystem, which we currently have, to a connected ecosystem where data is shared between all the parties will help create and provide more opportunities for stakeholders. And this is exactly what we do at GoParkly. GoParkly is a technology platform that makes parking data accessible, on demand, and real time. And we do that using three different components. The first one is the AI-enabled sensors. So these are optical sensors that we install to cover parking spaces, whether they are, probably they are on street. And these sensors data and share this data over the cloud in real time. And this data can be shown on two interfaces. The first one is a mobile app, which drivers can use to have a seamless parking experience. And the second one is a web dashboard, which stakeholder, for example, parking operators, traffic authorities, councils, anyone interested to get this data can see this data in real time, which enables him to make data-driven decisions. The sensors that we have developed, as I said, they are AI-enabled, so they have high accuracy. They use machine learning algorithms to get this parking data. They are multiple space, meaning that we don't have to install one sensor under each car to get this data. Rather, we have one sensor to cover 30, 40, depending on the geography of the place, so we can cover multiple parking spaces. At the same time, our sensors are connected to the cloud, meaning that we can provide data in real time for all the stakeholders. What makes this solution really commercial at this point, because technologies that could detect occupants of parking spaces and could data were available before. But what makes this data now, this solution more uploadable it's because of the reason it's the AI-enabled and multiple space sensors compared to all technologies. They are able to reduce the cost of detecting the occupancy of parking spaces and retrieving parking data by 90%. So when you have a technology that could reduce the cost of getting data by 90%, this makes it more commercially viable. Using the mobile app, drivers can find available parking spaces either by destination. So if someone is going to a certain place, he can search the available parking spaces in this place, or they can look for parking spaces available in their proximity. They can also sort these parking spaces by either proximity or price. If the parking space is controlled, they also have the ability to reserve the space and extend the reservation. And of course, finally, they can use the mobile app to pay for their parking fee. Okay. The web dashboard is a tool which councils, operators, traffic authorities, any stakeholder interested to get this data can use to get important metrics related to the occupancy, utilization, real-time revenue, and turnover of parking spaces. They can also generate historical data in case they need it for reporting. And most importantly, they can do predictive analysis. And predictive analysis, I mean that once you have this data available, you can do simulations about how how drivers will act or behave in the future based on the data you have. I will conclude my presentation today with a saying by Dr. Peter Songe. He's an American systems scientist. He says, today's problems are yesterday's solutions. So at some point, the park meter was a brilliant solution for the parking problem. Today, it cannot really solve the emerging solutions that we have. So we believe that in order to create a solution that's future-proof, that doesn't create more problems in the future, we need to adopt a kind of an ecosystem mindset. And by an ecosystem mindset, I mean a system that builds on data, shares this data between all the stakeholders to enable them to make data-driven decisions and implement dynamic policies. That's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. As Chris said, I'm available after all the presentations are finished for any question you might have. Thank you so much.